You can't see me. What's up, y'all? This is Big Rig. Coming at you in a Fallout 76 video on the channel. Hope all my fellow blockers out there thriving and surviving in the wasteland. Am I a ghoul? Am I not a ghoul? Anyway, I got my mask on because I keep myself in a feral state, and you get a better, you turn feral like 30% faster having your mask on if you don't know that. But anyway, we get right into it. This is going to be, you know, it's one thing when you go through the raids, well, you get so much stuff. I mean, you're always having to drop stuff, and you have to scrap so much weapons. You get so many chems and stim packs, and you get serums, and you get, you know, flux, and you know, you have to drop so much stuff. And I bet there's been some stuff you've been dropping that you could really, if you didn't know, and maybe you do, have an unlimited supply of a really good damage boost. And that's gonna be Pyschobuff. Yeah, look how many psychos I have. I have 200 Pyschobuff. I haven't made none in a minute. I got a mule that has a bunch on there. So I got 309 Pyschobuff. And I got, how many buffets, buff out, I mean, 357. When you add chemist and you add super duper, we'll do it in a minute. I ain't gonna do all of them because I mean I'll be overweight, but and you're gonna see you can have an unlimited supply. You won't go through them. As you keep doing the raids, you get one for every level that you're doing, and they just keep adding up and adding up and adding up. And you can have an unlimited supply of Pyschobuff. How does Pyschobuff compare to Overdrive or Fury? So we're going to do a comparison with the Gatlin Plasma, with the snake, with Overdrive and Pyschobuff, and go over which one, how much better is Overdrive, or how close is it, and then we're going to take the autoaxs because Fury does affect it, and we'll test that with Pyschobuff, and then we'll also do the shredders. These are the top 3 weapons really in the game, at least for d.p.s. We'll do the shredder too, but Fury doesn't affect the shredder, so we'll just do a Pyschobuff, no Pyschobuff. We'll do some runs of Earl, we'll do some runs of the snake. So stay tuned and get locked in. Appreciate all my subscribers. Thank you for tuning in and watching. Hope y'all thriving, surviving out there. So what Pyschobuff, let's go back to Pyschobuff, is what it gives us. Pyschobuff gives us 25 damage, 3 strength, 3 endurance, 65 max health. Now, the Overdrive does give us more critical damage for the range as we get into the range. I passed it up. You know, you're getting 30% critical damage, 15% damage. But how much better is it really in the long run? If you can have an unlimited supply of Pyschobuff, Overdrive, you have to farm a little bit. We'll go with that, how to craft all that in a minute. But it's a little bit, you can do a little more work with Overdrive. With Pyschobuff, you can have unlimited supply. Plus, you get plus 3 strength. If you're a ghoul, you get 3 endurance, which adds you more glow, more health, and you get 65 to your max health. So you get a lot more benefits from Pyschobuff. So we'll see just how close, how far off is it. Is it worth using, being that you can have an unlimited amount of it? Stop dropping it. Start making it. Drop it like it's hot. And with that, let's just jump right into it. Gatlin Plasma comparisons. This is snake-a-boo. Alright, this is going to be Gatlin Plasma. Let's speed it up. That's some furious fucking speed. Say, pinpointers on it. I'm gonna go back and slow mo it. So I'm trying to save time on video. Basic heavy gunner build. We're batch criticals. We'll take one for the team. But we are fully maxed out, test of science, with I'm all the way big guns, so we get our full push for, you know, max damage. How far does Pyschobuff or Overdrive push us over that top, you know, if you're in the mid-maxing. And if you don't have the other buffs, you're still getting a comparison. You're still going to see the boost you're going to get. So this will be the baseline with no buffs at all. You can see we're getting 1,300 and like 32, 65. Now we're getting 47, like 91, 2,000. 48 with taking one for the team. So very quick, 21 seconds. How much further will Overdrive and Pyschobuff push us over that baseline? Right, here we are. You can always pause the video. I'm not going into details on build video, but I do got full set of union with limit braking on there with through hikers and +2 agility. Like I said, basically a heavy gunner build. We are fully buffed out with magazines, bobblehead, with a food crit, so we're getting max damage. Let's see how far Overdrive will push us over the top. With all the damage boost, will we see a difference in the damage numbers? I believe we will. We are using slime cake, ready to get as a ghoul. So with the regular shots, we're getting 3362, 1385. It's a pretty safe number there, 1388. And once we take one for the team, we're getting 5,000. And then we're getting 2163, 5,000, 2163. Boom. 20 seconds. We have it down pretty quick. Alright, so it'd be what you expect. The regular base damage was 1385 with Overdrive, 1317 with the no Chem, so it was about a 70-point difference. But the critical damage was about 100, a little more than 100. Before taking one per team, but taking one a team, it was a pretty significant. It was like 300 difference whenever taking one team triggered. So it'd be what you would expect. The 15% damage didn't give you too much, but the critical damage did. But all right, on to the next. Here we go with Pyschobuff, and I do apologize if it bothers you, fast forward and all this, but it just cut the video time down. So, like I said, you can always kind of pause it. You want to see it, but everything's still the same buffs, totally maxed out. Same Bats power warmer set up with your Bats heavy gunner build. It changed a few things up. Did something else before I did this run. Okay, I'm using slime cake. And we'll pop a Pyschobuff. So we pop the Pyschobuff. Now it is very interesting. Remember, don't know if you get hung up on numbers or do you pay attention to the damage. I've helped those down. Sometimes the numbers ain't always true, but the damage, base damage numbers does show about what you would think. It is more on the base damage, but the crit number, look, that's 34. Some of those are 3410, some are 33, but that was higher than the Overdrive. Now with taking one for the team, the Overdrive was getting 5,000, but the base damage was still less. Because Overdrive only gives you 15%, where the Pyschobuff gives you 25%, so that affects your base damage and it affects your overall critical damage, because your critical damage is based off your base damage. So, but like everything in Fallout, very fine in the details between what is the best. I mean, we're talking about seconds, milliseconds sometimes. So, but let's compare them all. Let's see. With the Pyschobuff being so easy to farm and make, will it be the best option? I have to watch. It's going to happen real quick. But for ranged weapons, which one is really truly better? No buff is not, I mean, not that bad. But if you're in the mid-max and you want to push your damage over the top, you know, there was almost 2-second difference. So it is pushing your damage. You can see Pyschobuff really outperforms the Overdrive. But like I said, it's in the details. It's a fine minute thing. But if it's basically a free buff that you get from doing the raids, I mean, why not take it? I mean, push your damage up just a little bit more. I wanted to go totally mid-max. I mean, just to see with all that extra damage, was it going to even give us a little bit more? And it did. You know, even with fully maxed out, adding that to it did push it over. You might see, we probably see more of a difference if we had less buffs going. But even with all the buffs we had going, it still helped push our damage up and get our time a couple seconds. And in Fallout, a couple seconds is like a lifetime. That is like forever. So yeah, so for ranged weapons, like Pyschobuff seems to be a good solid option. Other than your Overdrive because there's like a camp resource or generator. If you're doing raids, you won't have unlimited supply. All right, now let's check out the autoaxs, and then we'll get to the shredder. All right, here we are. We're going to showcase the difference between this Fury and Pyschobuff, and without it, is it worth it in your build? Being that you can have an unlimited farm due to the raids. If you're doing a lot of raids, we have unlimited access to make Pyschobuff. So we're going to compare these two. We're going to use the autoaxs because it does effective. I'll do a little bit with the shredder too. Show you how that works, and yeah, because Fury directly affects the autoaxs because it's melee damage, where it doesn't affect shredder, and we'll be able to see a good difference for melee. Is Fury better than Pyschobuff for melee? Shredder is its whole set of rules, so we'll do its own separate tests. And you see, we're not feral because you can't be feral and take any type of chems or you lose your feral state. So we did put our slugger cards on to get more damage, try to maximize our damage. We're not going to take a whiskey because I want to see just how with that extra strength, with the 25% damage, is it going to be more than 30% melee damage in 2025? We can see the build is really set up, and I was doing some bad stuff running it with my pepper checker, so I still have Enforcer on there. I still got glowing criticals on there, man. So it's not a build video. This is just a test of a Pyschobuff. We got the right cards for our autoaxs. Why not put a bone shredder on? We have the right cards to get autoaxs the most damage that we can, but outside being feral. We're closer to being more like human. Got our time perks on there to get the electrify mod, and so the install for the ambers, and yeah, that's basically it. We got Death Claw Wellington, and we do got a tasty dish. Our strength was like 49. That's we'll fast forward just a little bit. We are using our Union Power Armor with +2 strength with 3 pieces of the Aegis and 2 pieces of Rejuvenators. Alright, here we go. So let's pop a Liquid Courage. We're not going to use a whiskey. Liquid Courage. What's up, Earl? Time to brush those teeth. I haven't seen you in a while, so we're getting 500, 560 on the yellow numbers, 309, 564. All right, 587. That's how we're getting. 590. 595. All right. Now let's pop the Pyschobuff first. $638. $354. So about 50 more on the white numbers. 60 more. 662. 668. Almost 100 more. 680. 681. All right, so about 100 more. Now that adds up whenever your weapon is spinning so fast. 100 does add up. So there is a difference. It does. It is a good buff to have for your melee, obviously. Let's test Fury. Which you do get Fury from the 378. 675. Yeah, you can make more Pyschobuff than you can Fury, because as you get your Psycho and you get your Buffet and you use Chemist and Super Duper, you can multiply. So you're getting a little bit more. We have like 686 with What am I talking about? With the cycle buff. And with the cycle buff, you're also getting, pop it again. You're also getting more glow. So you're getting more glow and you're getting more health, more endurance, which means more glow. So, and you're getting strength and you're getting damage. You're getting 3 strength and the 25% damage, plus max health into your endurance. So it broke. Let's repair it. So yeah, definitely cycle buff is the winner. It's definitely getting more damage. Not much in the Fury, but considering that you can mass produce it from the raids, it is definitely the better buff to run with for melee, and the other benefits that you get from it too. Like I say, 100 more adds up. Start to go a long way. We'll go ahead and finish them all. Let's brush these teeth, Earl. Hold still. Let me brush those teeth. Brush those teeth, Earl. Alright, there we go. Got him down. But yeah, for 2025, being with the raise and how we can mass produce cycle buff, it is the better buff to run with melee. Do you need it? I mean, you don't have to have it, but you know, if you're getting it for free basically for the raid, you might as well use it. I mean, 100 damage is a big difference. Not a big difference between Fury and cycle buff, but more benefits for cycle buff. So a little bit extra damage plus the benefits to me makes it a better Chem. All right. Now for the finale, the shredder. And remember, the damage numbers are not going to be different, so we're going to have to compare them side by side, do 2 different runs. But don't worry, it's not as long as the autoaxs. It'll be quick. All right, here we are with some Earl Curls, going with the shredder, testing cycle buff with our anti-armor bash damage, plus 3 strength with pinpointers. So now we're getting all the effects for that. They really bring it over the top as a boss killer. Obviously we got radioactive strength and basher, that's what really counts. We're at anti-armor, so stabilize really don't even need it, but it's still on there. And having Bloody Mess helping us. This is installed in the ambers, no big deal, nothing fancy. We got 47 strength, 21 endurance, 29 agility, so our AP is a 380, so 20 AP. We did cancel SERMs out to keep our strength up high. We got Company T, we got Death Claw Mountain is helping our strength by 6. And other than that, it's only affecting our damage. Our endurance is plus 6 with our Age Queen state, that gives us more glow. But we're a carnivore. We got twisted muscles. And we got our Union plus 2 strength, power armor, crew hackers, and 3 pieces of Aegis and 2 pieces of rejuvenators. Alright, yeah, it's gonna be simple. I'm not gonna take any cycle buff on this run. We'll just use the shredder with our glow, with our strength being at, well, once we take it, let's take a look at courage. Our strength at 48. And then we'll come back, we'll do a run with, what's up, Earl? Let's brush those teeth. Look at that. Brush those teeth, Earl. In a while, I've been brushing those teeth. Teeth are getting funky, Earl. We'll come back to a run with cycle buff. This is the only way I know to really compare them. The Guardian goes by way too quick. Even this goes by quick. OP weapon, wow. It's just insane. But the cycle buff is going to give us more strength, which is going to add on to our damage. But what will it do with the 25%? Because they don't show up on the weapon card on your damage numbers, but that don't mean that it's not giving us more damage. So we're going to come back and do this run and pop a cycle buff and see is it worth it for basically a free buff that you can get unlimited doing the raids. But it does help your endurance and your glow, so we'll get into more on that in a minute. So we'll be right back, and let's come back with some cycle buff. All right, here we're back with another Earl's Curls, where we're going to do the cycle buff. I miss old Earl's Curls. If you've been following me for a while, leave a comment. You miss those old Earl Curls. It was a little easier tested weapon. Only had one test dummy, and before the raids. But anyway. Yeah, same weapon, same power armor, +2 strength, same buffs going. Nothing else different. Still got our sirens cancel negative effects. Carnivore, same build, basher, radioactive strength, stabilize, maybe silence monster, faulty spots. These do help us though. We do get stacks with, if you'll watch, and have another video coming out about that, but save that video. It says install. We will pop a cycle buff right there. And cycle buff does give us like 25 damage, but will that 25 damage? It will not show. We were getting 10, 51 on our yellow weak spots, our numbers, so it won't show up there. We'll get the same amount. It is adding to our strength. So, but will the 25 damage show up when we compare them side by side? That'll be the point of this of these two runs. But overall, the +3 strength will add to your strength. So overall, it will add to your damage. But it might be more of a combination of working the cycle buff like with Deathclaw Wellington maybe, or with whiskey, adding more strength. But we're not testing levels of strength, we're just testing cycle buff here. It also adds to your max health and your endurance, so gives you more glow, more health. Alright, so let's get down here and take care of some business. Won't take long. I think Earl needs me to brush his teeth. Liquid courage. Cycle buff. So strength is 52. It was like 48 whenever we did it without the cycle buff. 49, I think. My bad. Hey Earl, what's up, bro? I know we haven't been hanging out a lot, but you see the stacks. We got 11 stacks. So yeah, our stacks do work. 1051. So we're already getting more. It'll be hard to see. We're going to compare the runs. And we'll know whenever we compare the runs just how much more we're getting. Just like with the Guardian. If you haven't seen my video with the Guardian, we're testing the Guardian levels of strength. Coming with the shredder, so the damage numbers don't always add up to what is being reflective to the real damage. You can get the same damage numbers, but when you add strength, it does affect your overall damage you're putting out whenever you look at how quick the health bar goes down. But the number that you're getting will not be any higher whether you have little strength or a lot of strength, but the health bar will move faster. So we'll see. The cycle buff help the shredder. Does that 25% add into the damage? Does that plus strength give you just a little bit more? Or is it just more of a combination of maybe having like whiskey or Deathclaw Wellington, adding those extra strength with that extra 3 strength, so like an extra 6 with the extra 9 strength, which that would be a pretty significant amount. But all right, let's compare them. All right, just watch real close. Happens real quick. You can see the cycle buff does jump out a little ahead. It does look like it's moving just a little bit faster. They're both moving pretty fast. They both have points in when they get either thrown off or staggered by when it goes, where they lose a little bit and have to get back on the Earl. So the no buff almost catches up, but cycle buff winds up barely being ahead. So it does make a difference with your shredder having cycle buff. So we've gone over it's better with your range, with your regular melee, and with your shredder. Now let's go over real quick the crafting part. All right, so wow, we see the results, see how good it is. I think it's worth it. I think for being a buff that's so easy that if you do the raise, you're going to have an unlimited supply of this. So why farm for Overdrive when you have the cycle buff? In my opinion, you have unlimited, and it does help you out. If you're going for mid-maxing, you want to push your damage a little bit more over the top. For something that you don't have to even farm for, really. I guess you are farming doing the raise, but you're farming doing other stuff. So, it ain't like you have to do a lot of work for it. I think it's an excellent choice and kind of a no-brainer, just like Carnivore is a meta, because it's so easy, because we got all of them. We got all our camp items, the resources that generate stuff. Well, this is a generator from the raid. It just has you unlimited supply of a damage boost that's very easy to get. I'll make sure whenever you do it in newer players, make sure you got Chemist on, and make sure you have Super Duper on, because this is going to double your quantities, and this right here is going to give us a 30% chance to, when we craft, to double our results. So let's see what we can do real quick. We go to our drugs. As you see, Overdrive, you got to farm digestive goo. I ain't saying that's super hard to get, but it's a little bit of work. New colors are easy to get, so it takes a little more work to do the Overdrive. Whereas our Psycho buff, it's given buff out and Psycho given to us from the raids, and look how much we got. I haven't made a batch in a while, so you really can't have an unlimited supply. Fury, not so hard, because it's the same thing. Buff out and Psycho, so both Fury, buff out Psycho, buff out Psycho. So Fury is just as easy to farm, but as we go over melee, is it better than Psycho buff? It's kind of potato, but as we saw, Psycho buff's a little bit better. Plus, you get more. With Fury, you do get 30 melee damage, but you get a little bit damage resist. But if you're a power armor using these auto melee weapons, who cares about the damage resist? You're already so tanky. So, in my opinion, I think Psycho buff really is the better one, because you get so many more benefits for it, and you get more damage. You're adding 25 damage plus 3 strength to your melee damage. So that's my opinion. All right, so now let's get into it. Those are the buffs that we looked at, and now let's say how many we want to do. Let's see how many we get with. I want to do 50.
Okay, I found this on the web for how many.
Let's do 80. And see what that gives us. So we got it kicked in. We still got, we still have, let's see if I can look at that. We still got 276, 229. So we still have a ton of Psycho and buff out and buff it. Oh, I keep messing that up. Psycho buff 308. So I had right at 200. Gave us 180. I made 80, and I got 180 out of it. 380 of those. You're not going to take this whenever you're just playing, going through regular content. This would be like when you're going through the raid, a snake, going against the Earl. You're in a boss fight. You want to get that extra damage. Maybe you don't like doing solo stuff. Leave comments. Let me know if you like doing solo stuff or not. I don't know if you do, but either way, you want to push your damage a little bit more over the top. You're not going to be taking this all the time. So that 380 is going to last you a super long time. If we'd have done all of them, what's going to do it? Let's just do it. All right, you're gonna see me do it. So I got 200, a little bit over 200 in each one, and we wind up getting like a 229 we make with Super Duper, and we wind up getting like over 700 out of it. Like we got 908, yeah, 600 out of it. So I mean that's like an unlimited supply. You think about it, if you only use it in boss fights or certain content where you want that little push your damage over the top, 900 will last you forever. And by the time you get through that, after you're doing raids and doing other constantly doing raids, then you're going to have another supply and then you redo it. So you'll have a continuous unlimited supply. So let me know your thoughts about it. Do you think Pyschobuff is better than the Overdrive? Through the test, you use Pyschobuff. Did you realize that you had an unlimited supply on you? Have you been doing these raids and farming the Guardian, or that you had so much at your fingertips? Do you think it's better than farming Overdrive and just being able to farm through the raids? Do you think it's better than Fury? Because Fury comes from the raids too, but you don't get as many benefits from it. Or do you even mess with Chem? Do you even use Cycle? I'd like to know your thoughts on it. Like I said, every little bit counts in Fallout. It's a fine line between pushing your damage over the top. And is it necessary? Not exactly. This game is pretty easy, but it is fun. That's why we play it. You always want to try to push things, and that's why I like to take it personally. So don't throw it away. Get your free unlimited Pyschobuff from the raids, and if you've got anything out of it, like, subscribe, and this is Big Red. I'll see y'all in the next one.